The young maintenance assistant overhears a conversation between two wealthy women near the room of a dying girl. In a small village, Lucas's life is marked by tragedies and hardships. With a sick aunt and an uncertain future, he struggles to keep his dreams alive. When a mysterious plot against a young heiress is revealed, Lucas finds himself at the center of a dangerous conspiracy. In a small village, nestled between lush hills and cut through by a stream of crystal-clear waters, lived a young man named Lucas. His story, marked by tragedies and hardships, shaped his life from an early age. When he was just 5 years old, his mother, a kind and hard-working woman, succumbed to a rapidly progressing illness. Lucas never knew his father, a man who abandoned his mother before he was born. With his mother's death, he was left in the care of his Aunt Marta, a woman with a generous heart but few resources. Marta supported Lucas through hard work, sewing for neighbors and selling small embroideries at the village market. Life was simple, but financial difficulties were a constant. They lived in a modest house where the wind whispered through the trees, and the bird's song was a constant melody. The bucolic environment, though humble, conveyed a sense of peace and warmth. Marta always said, "Lucas, love and courage are our greatest treasures. The rest we conquer with hard work and faith." Lucas grew up with an insatiable thirst for knowledge. With few resources, he did everything possible to learn. He spent hours in the small library at the local school, reading by candlelight late into the night. Marta, despite the difficulties, never stopped encouraging him. "You have a brilliant mind, my boy. Never stop dreaming of a better future," she would tell him as she sewed under the dim light of a lamp. At 16, Lucas faced a difficult choice. Marta, who had always been a fortress, began to show signs of a debilitating illness that prevented her from working. Medical bills were piling up, and their small income was no longer enough. Lucas decided he needed to find a way to help. He knew that with Marta's health declining, he would be the family's sole breadwinner. Despite the difficulties, Lucas did not give up on his studies. Every day, he traveled to the neighboring town to attend a better-equipped school. The journey was long and exhausting, starting before dawn and ending late at night. "Lucas, it's not about whether you can or can't. It's about how much you want it. And I want it a lot," he would tell himself as he walked the steep trails of the hills. The village, though small and simple, was a place of great solidarity. The neighbors, aware of the difficulties Lucas and Marta faced, always offered help. Donna Claudia, the neighbor across the street, often left a plate of food at their door. "Marta, I know you're going through tough times. This is just a little something to help," she would say with a warm smile. This support network was essential for Lucas to continue studying and caring for Marta. Despite all the adversities, Lucas maintained a resilient and hopeful spirit. He knew his life would not be easy, but he was determined to make a difference. "I'll do everything in my power to take care of you, Aunt Marta. And one day, I'll leave this village and give you a better life. You can believe that," he promised as he helped Marta with the daily chores. As time passed, Lucas's story began to spread throughout the village and beyond. He became an example of perseverance and determination. People admired him not only for his intelligence but also for his tireless dedication and love for his aunt. With each challenge that arose, he found a way to overcome it, never losing hope. On a sunny autumn day, as Lucas returned from school, he found Marta sitting in the small garden she loved so much, looking out at the horizon. "Have you ever thought about what your life will be like after I'm gone?" she asked with a soft but worried voice. Lucas held her hand and replied with determination, "Not yet, Aunt. I prefer to think about how I'll make sure you live for many, many years. And as long as I can, I'll fight to give you the best of everything." Marta smiled, her eyes filling with tears. "You are my pride, my dear, and I know that no matter what happens, you'll be okay. Keep pursuing your dreams and don't let hardships make you give up." Lucas nodded, feeling a mixture of sadness and hope. He knew the future was uncertain, but he was also certain that he would do everything to honor his aunt's words. Life was tough, but with love and determination, he believed he could build a path to success and happiness. The situation at home worsened as Marta required constant care. The village, though welcoming, did not offer the opportunities Lucas needed to support his aunt and continue his studies. It was then that Clara, a childhood friend of Lucas who worked as a cleaner at a hospital in the city, came up with a possible solution. She mentioned a maintenance assistant position at the hospital where she worked. Clara, with her sweet and friendly voice, called Lucas one night. "Lucas, I know things are tough there, but a position has opened up at the hospital where I work. It's not much, but the salary could help with your Aunt Marta's bills. I mentioned you to my boss, and he seemed interested." Lucas felt a mix of relief and anxiety. "Clara, I'm very grateful. It's not about the job itself, but it's a chance to help my aunt and move forward. I'll do everything I can to get that position." On the day of the interview, Lucas wore his most presentable clothes, though they were still simple. He walked to the hospital with his heart pounding, fighting the nervousness. As he entered the interview room, he was greeted by a middle-aged man, the maintenance supervisor, Mr. Carvalho. He had a serious but fair expression. "So, you're Lucas. Clara spoke a lot about you. What motivates you to seek this position?" Mr. Carvalho asked, observing him closely. Lucas took a deep breath. "Sir, I need to help my sick aunt, and I want to continue my studies. I don't know much about maintenance, but I learn quickly and have a strong desire to work." Mr. Carvalho was silent for a moment, evaluating Lucas's sincerity. "Well, it's not the most extensive resume I've seen, but determination counts for a lot. You're hired. You start on Monday." Lucas could hardly believe it. "Thank you very much, sir. I won't let you down." Starting work at the hospital was a significant change in Lucas's life. He divided his time between maintenance tasks, which ranged from simple repairs to helping clean specific areas. The hospital, with its white corridors and constant activity, was an entirely new world for him. Clara helped Lucas adjust. "Everything moves quickly here, and there's always something to do. Don't worry, you'll get the hang of it soon," she would say with an encouraging smile. In addition to working to support Marta, Lucas found an unexpected sense of purpose in his new job. He dedicated himself wholeheartedly, always eager to learn and help. One of the areas where he frequently worked was near the room of Isabel, a young woman in a coma. Lucas noticed the frequent visits of two well-dressed women who always seemed tense. One hot afternoon, while making repairs in the hallway, he overheard a conversation that sent chills down his spine. The two women were whispering about Isabel, mentioning a significant inheritance. "It's only a matter of time before we get what we want. No one will suspect anything if things are done correctly," one of them murmured. Lucas felt his blood run cold. It was clear that something sinister was happening. His curious nature led him to discreetly investigate. As he did so, he overheard more fragments of suspicious conversations about permanent solutions and inconvenient heiress. The concern grew in his chest. After a few days of careful observation, Lucas heard something that made him act. The women planned to administer an injection that would cause a natural shutdown of the machines keeping Isabel alive. Gripped by a sense of urgency, he knew he had to stop it. That night, with the hospital relatively quiet, Lucas approached Isabel's room. The two women were inside, tampering with the equipment. Lucas waited until they left and quickly entered the room. He disconnected Isabel from the machines and triggered the emergency alarm, causing a rush among the doctors and nurses. As the medical team worked frantically to stabilize Isabel, the women, caught off guard, were confronted. Lucas, his heart still racing, was questioned by his superiors and the police. He reported everything he knew, his suspicions, and what he had heard. The case gained significant attention. The two women were identified as Isabel's cousins, interested only in the inheritance. Lucas's courage in acting to protect a stranger was widely recognized. "You risked your job, maybe even your safety, to save Isabel's life. That's worthy of a true hero," said the hospital director. Isabel, now under intensive care, was out of danger. Meanwhile, Lucas dealt with the whirlwind of emotions and sudden notoriety. He never imagined that his job at the hospital would put him in such a critical situation. However, he knew he had done the right thing, even if it meant getting involved in something so big and dangerous. Lucas grew increasingly anxious after the event at the hospital. The consequences of what he had discovered and prevented began to weigh on him. The two women, accused of conspiracy to commit murder, were being investigated by the police. Lucas knew his life would never be the same, especially with the attention his heroic act had attracted. One night, as he prepared for another maintenance round, he was called to the hospital director's office. Dr. Almeida, a kind and wise man, wanted to thank Lucas personally. "You did something extraordinary, Lucas. You saved a life and exposed a horrible plot. However, I must warn you that this could bring complications. We need to ensure your safety and Isabel's." Lucas nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. "I don't regret what I did, doctor. I just want Isabel to be okay and justice to be served." The following days were intense. Isabel, still recovering, began to show signs of consciousness. During one of his visits, Lucas noticed a slight movement in her eyelids. He approached, feeling a wave of hope. "Isabel, if you can hear me, know that you're safe now. You're going to be okay." To his surprise, Isabel opened her eyes, looking around confused. Where am I?" she murmured weakly. Lucas immediately called a nurse. The medical team quickly assessed her condition. Isabel was conscious, though still fragile. In the days that followed, she began to remember fragments of what had happened before she fell into a coma. The doctors and police worked together to piece the case together. Isabel, now more lucid, asked for Lucas, the stranger who, according to everyone, had saved her life. When they met, she looked at him with tired but grateful eyes. You saved me, didn't you?" Lucas smiled shyly. "I just did what anyone would do. I heard what they were planning and couldn't let it happen." Isabel shook her head, moved. "No, Lucas, not just anyone. Many would have ignored it. You risked everything to help me, and I can never thank you enough for that." Slowly, Isabel regained her strength. Lucas continued to visit her whenever he could, and a friendship began to bloom. They talked about their lives, their hopes, and dreams. Isabel shared about her complicated family and the burden of wealth that always attracted self-interested people. Lucas, in turn, spoke about the hardships in the village, his Aunt Marta, and his interrupted dreams. One day, while they were talking, Isabel made a revelation. "I always knew some people in my family only cared about money, but I never thought they would go this far. It's scary to think I was so close to death." Lucas held her hand firmly. "You're strong, Isabel. And now that everything's out in the open, you can protect yourself better. And I'll be here, by your side." The friendship between the two soon turned into something deeper. The lingering looks, shy smiles, and affectionate gestures did not go unnoticed by those around them. Clara, an attentive observer, commented to Lucas during one of their lunch breaks, "You know you're falling in love with her, right?" Lucas blushed but didn't deny it. "It's hard not to fall in love, Clara. Isabel is amazing, but I'm just a maintenance assistant." Clara laughed. "Lucas, what you did for her goes beyond any social status. And if she feels the same way, who cares what others think?" Isabel, meanwhile, also struggled with her own feelings. She knew that falling in love with Lucas would mean facing many obstacles, especially from her family. However, Lucas's genuineness and care captivated her. He was different from everyone else in her life, someone who saw her for who she was, not for what she possessed. One sunny afternoon, Isabel gathered her courage and spoke to Lucas in the hospital garden. "Lucas, I don't know what's going to happen with my life from now on, but I know you are a part of it. You mean so much to me." Lucas looked at her, surprised, and held her hands. "Isabel, I feel the same way, but I know your family and the world out there may not understand." She interrupted him. "I don't care what they think. I want to be with you, Lucas. We can face this together." With this commitment, Lucas and Isabel began a relationship, aware of the challenges they would face. Isabel knew her family would not easily accept it, and Lucas was aware of the class differences that could complicate everything. However, they were determined to follow their heart. The following days were a mix of joy and concern for Lucas and Isabel. While their relationship blossomed, external pressure mounted. News that Isabel, a young heiress to a fortune, was getting involved with Lucas, a simple maintenance assistant, spread quickly. Society, especially the elite, reacted with shock and disapproval. Isabel's family, notoriously controlling, wasted no time intervening. Isabel's father, an influential businessman, called a family meeting to discuss her future. Isabel knew it would be a difficult meeting, but she was determined to stand up for her feelings for Lucas. On the day of the meeting, Isabel entered the family's mansion living room, where everyone was waiting for her. Her father, Mr. Dantes, started without preamble. "Isabel, you've always been a smart woman, so you must understand that this relationship with Lucas is not appropriate. You have a name to uphold." Isabel, sitting rigidly in the armchair, replied firmly, "Dad, what's appropriate for me is what makes me happy, and Lucas makes me happy. I don't care what others think." Her mother, Mrs. Dantes, intervened with a soft but cutting voice. "Dear, we understand you've been through a difficult time, but falling in love with someone like Lucas is a mistake. He doesn't belong to our world." Isabel stood up, facing everyone with determination. "The world you're talking about is the world that tried to kill me for money. Lucas saved my life. He cares about me for real, not for what I can offer financially." The room fell silent. Mr. Dantes finally sighed, defeated. "If this is truly what you want, Isabel, we can't stop you. But know that there will be consequences. We will not support this relationship." Isabel, maintaining her composure, responded, "I never asked for financial support. I just wanted your support as a family, but it seems that's something I can't have. I will make my own way." With that declaration, Isabel made it clear that she was ready to face the consequences of her choice. The family's financial support would be cut off, but she was prepared to fight for her love for Lucas. The determination in her eyes left no doubt that she was willing to give up privileges and status to live her truth. Meanwhile, Lucas was also facing his own challenges. At the hospital, the disdainful looks and whispered conversations increased. Some co-workers didn't hide their contempt for what they saw as an attempt at social climbing. Lucas tried to ignore it, but the insecurities occasionally got to him. Clara, always a loyal friend, supported him. "Don't listen to them. They don't know you or Isabel. What matters is what you two feel." Lucas tried to stay strong, but one night, while talking to Isabel, he expressed his concern. "Isabel, I know you're strong, but I don't want you to suffer because of me. Society, your family, they can be cruel." Isabel gently cupped Lucas's face. "Lucas, their cruelty is what made me see how special you are. You saved me, not just physically, but from a life of superficiality and interest. I choose you, no matter what they say." With that reassurance, the couple moved forward, even as they faced storms of criticism and prejudice. The hospital, which had witnessed the beginning of their relationship, was now also the stage for their secret meetings and deep conversations. Isabel, always practical and direct, began to talk about her plans for the future, far from the influences of her family. "I want to use what I have to help others. I'm tired of seeing my money as just a status symbol. We can do this together, Lucas. You can go back to school, follow your dreams, and I'll dedicate myself to social causes. Let's build something beautiful, something that makes sense to us." Lucas, touched by Isabel's vision, began to consider his own aspirations. "I've always wanted to study electrical engineering. It would be amazing to do something I'm truly passionate about. And with you by my side, I feel like anything is possible." Their connection only deepened. Each day together was a discovery, a new layer of understanding and affection. The external difficulties seemed only to strengthen the bond that united them. And, while society watched with critical eyes, Lucas and Isabel found solace and strength in the love they shared. With the wedding set, Lucas and Isabel faced a new wave of opposition. The news caused a great stir in the local high society and, as expected, Isabel's family was not pleased. Her parents, especially, were outraged by their daughter's decision. The marriage was considered an act of rebellion against all the expectations they had for her. In a final effort to dissuade her, Isabel's parents called her in for a talk. Mr. Dantes, with a tone mixed with frustration and desperation, said, "Isabel, don't you see what you're doing? You're throwing your life away. This marriage is madness, Isabel responded calmly. Dad, what seems like madness to you is the only thing that makes sense to me. I love Lucas, and he loves me for who I am, not for what I possess. I won't give that up. Mrs. Dantas tried a more emotional approach. Dear, think about your future, the opportunities you'll have. You can't limit yourself like this. You deserve someone of your level. Isabel looked at her mother with a sad but resolute expression. What you consider level has nothing to do with love or character. I choose to live a life with meaning, alongside someone who truly understands and values me. That's the future I want. Tension in the Dantas family escalated, but Isabel stood her ground. She knew financial support would be cut off and that her family would likely disinherit her, but she was prepared for that. She and Lucas decided they would live simply, starting from scratch if necessary. The wedding, though small and modest, was filled with love and meaning. Close friends, like Clara, were present, offering support and joy to the couple. Isabel wore a simple but elegant dress that reflected her new philosophy of life, simplicity and authenticity. Lucas, in a suit he had managed to obtain with effort, couldn't hide his emotion at being beside the woman he loved. During the ceremony, Clara, who was the maid of honor, gave a touching speech. True love is rare, and that's what we see here today. Lucas and Isabel have shown all of us that it's not wealth or status that defines a person's worth, but their heart. May you continue to inspire everyone with your courage and love. After the wedding, married life brought new challenges. Isabel's family kept their distance, and society continued to gossip. However, the couple found a support network among friends and colleagues who saw beyond social superficiality. Isabel continued to work on her social projects, and Lucas, encouraged by her, began studying for the entrance exams to an engineering college. One of the most difficult moments was when Isabel was formally disinherited. Her parents, furious with her stubbornness, cut all financial ties. "We don't need their money," Isabel said to Lucas, with a determined look. "We'll build our own life with our own hands." Lucas, moved by Isabel's determination, replied, "We're in this together, and I'll never let you lack anything. We'll make it." Lucas's study routine and Isabel's work at the foundation kept the couple busy, but united. They supported each other, sharing household chores and finding moments to relax together. Isabel loved to cook, something she rarely had the chance to do at her parents' house. "Cooking is like meditating for me, and the best part is that now I can do it for us," she would say, smiling. Lucas, who often worked late into the night on his studies, was constantly motivated by Isabel. "You're going to be a brilliant engineer, Lucas. I believe in you," she would say as he pored over his books. Social challenges also continued. Some of Isabel's old friends avoided her, not understanding her decision to marry Lucas. However, the couple found comfort in new friendships, especially among those who shared their vision of a more just and egalitarian world. At one of the charity events organized by Isabel, she was approached by a young woman who said, "You have no idea how much your story inspires me. I also come from a wealthy family and always felt that money controlled my life. Seeing you follow your heart gives me the courage to do the same." Isabel smiled and replied, "The most important thing is to live according to your own values and not let fear control you. It's difficult, but it's liberating." Lucas and Isabel faced many ups and downs, but the solid foundation of love and respect they built kept them strong. They weren't just living together, they were building a life and a new identity, far from the shadows of family and social expectations. Together, they decided that nothing, not even the judgment of others, could separate them. After the wedding and Isabel's decision to distance herself financially from her family, the couple focused on building a future based on their own values and efforts. Isabel, true to her promise, immersed herself in the social projects she had planned. She created an NGO called New Horizon, dedicated to offering education and opportunities for young people in vulnerable situations. Using part of her inheritance, which she managed to secure before the complete break with her family, Isabel established a solid foundation for the project. "I always wanted to do something that really mattered," Isabel confessed to Lucas one night as they discussed plans for the NGO. This money never meant anything to me, but now I feel I can use it for something good. Something that makes a difference. Lucas, who always supported her, replied, "You're changing lives, Isabel. And that's something no one can take away from you." Lucas, in turn, was focused on his engineering studies. With Isabel's help, he managed to enroll in a preparatory course for the entrance exam. Although it was difficult to balance work, study, and personal life, Lucas was determined. He studied late into the night, often by the light of the small lamp on his desk. "You're the hardest working person I've ever known," Isabel would often say, admiring Lucas's dedication. "And I know you'll achieve all your dreams." The couple's daily life was simple but full of meaning. They enjoyed cooking together, exploring the city, and occasionally taking small trips to quiet places where they could relax and reconnect. On one of these trips, to a cabin in the mountains, Isabel said, looking at the starry sky, "I always thought I needed a lot to be happy, but now I see that it's in simplicity that we find true happiness." Lucas smiled, holding her hand. "As long as we're together, we don't need anything else." The community around them also began to recognize the value of Isabel and Lucas. The New Horizon NGO became a beacon of hope for many young people, offering not only education but also training workshops and psychological support. Isabel personally dedicated herself to many of the cases, becoming a mentor and an inspiring figure. One day, while visiting one of the schools associated with the NGO, a young girl named Anna approached Isabel. "Thank you for everything you do, Mrs. Isabel," Anna said shyly. "Because of you, I now believe I can be someone in life." Isabel, with tears in her eyes, hugged the girl. "You already are someone, Anna, and you can be anything you want. Never let anyone tell you otherwise." Lucas, watching from a distance, felt immense pride for his wife. He knew that, despite the difficulties they had faced, Isabel was finally fulfilling her true purpose. And he, inspired by her, was more determined than ever to follow his own path. The couple also faced new challenges with the arrival of their daughter, Sophia. Sophia's birth brought a new dimension of love and responsibility to Lucas and Isabel's lives. They were dedicated to raising their child in an environment full of love, equality, and understanding. "I want Sophia to grow up knowing that love is what matters most," Isabel said, holding little Sophia in her arms. "That she learns to respect everyone, regardless of their background." Lucas, stroking his daughter's head, added, "And that she knows she can achieve anything as long as she works hard and keeps her heart pure." Sophia's arrival also brought a new wave of acceptance from some of Isabel's family members. Some began to reassess their attitudes, especially after seeing the happiness and stability of the couple. Although not everyone reconciled, there was a beginning of understanding and respect, especially for Isabel's dedication to social causes. As Lucas continued his studies and Isabel dedicated herself to the NGO, the couple began to build a network of friends and supporters. They participated in community events, lectures, and meetings, always promoting the idea that a person's true value lies in their actions and the love they share with others. Isabel also used her position to open dialogues about inequality and prejudice, themes that were very close to her own experience. In an inspiring lecture, she declared, "Love knows no social classes. What defines us is not what we have, but who we are and what we do for others." Lucas, who was present at the lecture, felt a wave of pride. He knew that together, they were making a real difference in the world. And, above all, they were building a life that reflected their values and hopes for the future. The path for the couple was full of challenges but also deep joys. Every victory, every small success, was celebrated with gratitude. They knew that the love that united them was strong enough to overcome any obstacle. And as they looked to the future, they felt ready to face whatever came, together. Lucas and Isabel continued to grow as individuals and as a couple. Lucas completed his studies and became a talented engineer, working on projects to improve the city's infrastructure and help underserved communities. Isabel, with the NGO, expanded its activities, reaching more young people and creating educational and employment opportunities. The relationship with Isabel's family gradually improved, with some members recognizing the genuine love that united the couple. Although they were not accepted by everyone, Lucas and Isabel found peace in their choices, and the life they built together. They moved forward, focused on creating a better world for their daughter and the people around them. Lucas and Isabel's story is a testament that true love transcends social barriers and prejudices. They showed that with courage and determination, it is possible to build a full and meaningful life based on mutual respect and the desire to do good. Together, they not only changed their own lives, but also inspired those around them to believe in a future where everyone